evening. This is the January 27th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. First up, we have a reserved decision. It's appeal number 2021-001, 599 Peconic LLC. For variances and relief to Chapter 301, Section 17, where existing lot width is 60.63 feet and the minimum required is 100 feet, where side yards are 4.7 feet and 6 feet, and the minimum required is 25 and 30 feet, where the rear yard setback is 43.5 feet and the minimum required is 60 feet, where the proposed impervious surface is 16.4% and the maximum permitted is 15%. Section 15A1A, where an accessory structure located in the front yard is not permitted. And Section 15A1B, where proposed pool is 6.7 feet from the property line and minimum required is 20 feet. Be granted with the following conditions. Survey to be amended to include landscape buffer that provides heavy shielding between pool and the Beach Harbor Civic Association's right-of-way. Number 2, 5 signed, sealed surveys detailing the landscape buffer must be submitted to the clerk of the Zoning Board of Appeals prior to the issuance of a building permit, in accordance with the applications and sketches and with amendments thereto, if any, as filed by the building inspector. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second. Second.
I recuse that.
You're recused.
Oh, yeah.
Leroy, you got a second on you? Well, we gotta get Leroy here.
Okay.
Second?
I second that.
Okay. So let's have it. All right. Mr. Barnes,
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So the appeal has been granted. Okay. Go
I
ahead.
just want to thank the board, if I may, for your time and effort that you've spent and the attention you've given this matter. My client would like to be here, but she had a death of a relative just a couple of days ago, and so she's not available. But thank you again.
You're welcome, Mr. Cuddy.
Thank you, Mr. Cuddy.
You want to take Appeal
Yeah.
2021-057? Okay. We're going to start with Appeal 2021-057, Panagiotis Papanikolaou, 96 18th Street, Wading River. Tax map number 653-125, RB80 zoning, for variances under relief from Chapter 301, Section 31, where impervious surface coverage is 37.62% and previous ZBA approval permitted coverage in excess of 17%.
Anybody hearing that?
Yes.
Is that you?
Anyway, kindly raise your hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
State your name and your address.
Panagiotis Papanikolaou, 90...
I'll tell you what, why don't you pull your mask down?
Okay.
And pull the mic down.
Pull the mic.
Panagiotis Papanikolaou, 96 18th Street, Wading River,
Okay,
11792.
you have the floor.
Okay, if you compare the survey of 2018 and 2021, it's almost the same. The only thing we did it was cover the driveway in the front, but we put the dry wells, which covers more area.
Okay. Move right up on it. We were down there.
Okay, we're
We
right
saw it.
there.
Yep. So
Is there anyone else to be heard on this matter? Anyone on the Zoom want to be heard? No. Nobody? Okay. What about Leroy? How are we getting him back in?
I'm here.
I have them covered up. I just want to...
Oh,
No, cover
actually, you
him up.
can leave that there.
Leave- cover him
That's
up,
another
please.
story.
I
Okay,
got
who's got to
I
read
got
it?
it.
Anybody else? Nobody else wants to be? Nobody? Okay, let's have a read.
All right, respectfully, Mr. Chairman, I appeal, this is on appeal number 2021-057. I move that the appeal of Paganakrios, how do you pronounce that?
Papa Nicolau, Panayotis.
Try pronouncing mine. 96 18th Street, Wading River, SCTM number 600-53-1-25, RB80 zoning for variances and/or relief from Chapter 301, Section 31, where impervious surface coverage is 37.62% and previous ZBA approval permitted coverage in excess of 17%, be approved in accordance with the applications and sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Barnes.
Second? We got it. I second that too, Mr. President.
Right. Okay. Mr. Barnes. Can we get Leroy on?
Okay, I think I can speak now.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay. And how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Whitmire.
Aye.
Mr. Gazillo.
Aye.
And I vote aye, so your appeal has been granted.
Good luck, sir.
And best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And stop coming back to us.
Okay.
Appeal 2021-043, The Salvation Army, 319 East Main Street, Riverhead, tax map number 600-129-413.2, DC1 zoning, for an interpretation that the Salvation Army store is used as a church or place of worship, and by Chapter 223, Section 4C, drop-off bins shall be allowed on any premises containing a church, temple, house of worship, or other religious institution, regardless of the zoning district in which it is located. Chapter 223, Section 4C permits drop-off bins in the destination retail center and business center zoning districts only.
Just state your name.
He's an attorney.
Yes, I have.
Alfred P. Lucia Jr., 1122 Franklin Avenue, Suite 406, Garden City. Good evening.
Is there anything else you want to add to your testimony from last meeting?
Just two items, if you please. There was a question by one of the board members with respect to whether we had applied for exemption from taxation, and I did do a tax search, and yes, we did apply for an exemption, and the tax exemptions were granted. And there was also a question with respect to...
Why were they, what'd you put the tax exemption in for?
I believe it was for a religious exemption,
What?
a religious exemption.
It would have been for the
Were
corporation.
you sure?
No, I'm not sure. No, I can't speculate. I just, I'm sorry, the exemption was nonprofit, excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure.
Nonprofit, yes.
Right.
And there was also a question with, by one of the board members with respect to a right-of-way at the rear of the property, and I looked into that, and the right-of-way is a private right-of-way. In other words, it's not in favor of the town, it's in favor of a private individual.
Okay.
Can I just ask, there's a sign on it. What does that sign say? There's a sign on Main Street. What does that say?
I'm not sure I follow, sir.
There's a sign on the front of the building. I think it's got the logo. I think it says Family Store. Is that correct?
I believe it says the Salvation Army Family Store,
Okay. Thank you.
and the logo of the Salvation Army.
Right.
Anybody else to be heard on this matter? Step up, please. First up. Hold on. Hold on, Leroy, we'll get you.
Thank you, Dawn. I know that you're getting some feedback, so I will mute it when I'm done speaking. So it's easier that way. So I did call the assessor's office, and actually, our assistant provided the information online to me. It is a religious institution, and it is granted the exemption that way. Just to point that out for the record.
Did you hear what he said he got the exemption for, though?
It's really for the religious, it's a religious institution. It's coded that way under the code. I just thought you should be aware of it, that's all.
Okay.
It doesn't define it as a church or anything else, it's just that they do receive the exemption.
Okay.
All right?
Mr. Barnes, did you, before you mute, just a quick question. Do you know what the property is coded in the?
Yes, it's, if you want to know the code number, it's 25300.
No, but I mean, is the property coded as a church or is it coded as a retail store?
Well, there's two different kinds of classifications. There's property class code,
Yes.
and then there's an exemption code that's applied based on their application.
So what's the property class code?
Small,
I think it's a 434,
right.
so I believe that's a retail store.
It's a small business building.
Okay, that was the only question I had.
Okay, a gentleman in the fourth row, you have something to
Wait
say?
a minute, I want to say something. Hold on a minute.
Okay, hold on a second.
Excuse me.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, when Leroy is talking about an exemption because of a religious facility or whatever, I think that's because Salvation Army is that. And this is an umbrella that's over this building on East Main Street. It's Salvation Army. And that's why they got that religious exemption, because they're looking at the big picture. But the building itself is not a church or whatever you want to call it. It's a retail store that serves the community, and they serve them well. And that's the interpretation I'm having a problem getting to, okay? Because I own a business, and there are times during the year, it's not every week or every month, where the staff might say, could we have a prayer this morning? And we might have a prayer, but I don't consider myself a religious institution. I just consider myself say a good Christian, whatever else you want to say. But the other thing is, you have a facility, Major would also know this, up on 130 Osborne Avenue. There's a building there, there's parking there, there's an empty lot behind the building. The frontage on that building is on Court Street, which is about 127 feet. The other side is on Osborne Avenue, which is about 98 feet. And in that empty lot behind the building and the parking lot, it's grass, but they have one bin there. Why couldn't they have 6 bins there? Because that church, I mean, that building, every once in a while, you'll read and see it advertised that as the Salvation Army Church on 130 Osborne Avenue. And it's I mean, as far as a convenient location for people to go and take their things, and, I mean, this thing downtown, I mean, you're right in the middle of the hub of town, and I don't know how they do it in that alley. I don't know if you've been there, but if you got 2 or more vehicles in there, I don't know. So I don't know if that could be a consideration. I just don't, you know.
It grew to 6 bins, quite frankly, because the people of this town are very generous.
Well,
Frankly,
I
that's-
realize that, but the code says 2, so we weren't even near that.
I understand, but we go back to 1981 at this location.
I know.
Those bins have been there, since the beginning.
All right.
There's somebody in the audience.
Yeah, the gentleman in the fourth row will take you up first, and then we'll take that young lady up next. Have you been before the board before? Did you just get sworn in on this?
Yeah,
matter?
no, I was a few weeks ago, and I noticed the sign in the window.
So you've been sworn in before?
No.
I could be swearing in again if you want. I was sworn in
Just raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
absolutely.
State your name and your address.
Van Howell at 72 Riverside Drive, around the corner from here. And my brother-in-law was saying a few months ago that he had a feeling they were going to try to get rid of the Salvation Army one of these days because of everything being gentrified. And I thought, and then I saw the sign in the window. I thought, uh-oh, here it comes, the hearing for a variance. And then I heard on the radio that it was about the donation bins, and I heard that the Salvation Army was claiming that it was a church, and my first reaction was, And then I happened to have a few books around about Christianity, and just for that, and I started to look at them. Some of it I was familiar with, and some of it I wasn't. And it's interesting that in the Epistle of James, there's this thing which I brought along a Bible, but I don't think I need to refer to it because I think I can remember what it says. Basically, it says, faith without works is dead. And if somebody comes into your church and they're cold and you pray for them and you don't give them a coat, you might as well be, the only thing that comes to mind would be too obscene for here as well as for the Bible, but, that's what you might as well be doing. Likewise, if somebody's hungry and you pray for them and don't give them a sandwich, same thing. So if faith without works is dead, then the question is what is a church? And another brother-in-law, who happens to be the first brother-in-law, I told him what I was researching, and he said, the word church comes from not Ecclesiastes, but some word very much like that. It's the same root as, I guess, the books of the Bible. And that has nothing to do with a church building. It's actually, he said the meaning was the called out ones, or, in other words, it's a community. It's a community of people that are looking after one another and practicing Christianity through works. And and there also weren't church buildings for the first 100 years or more of Christianity. In other words, in the heroic age when the martyrs were starting to happen and all the rest of it, and the faith hadn't been sorted out yet, buildings weren't part of it. People would meet in homes, they'd meet for all I know, they'd meet in stores and thrift shops. But, but getting away from the religious side of it, I think that I've been living without a car for a while. I had a beautiful car that stopped working after I lent it to my ex-wife, that's the sister of my brother-in-law. So I live downtown, and the closest thing there is to a department store is the Salvation Army. And I also have a cellar full of tons and tons of family stuff, some of which would probably be better off at the Salvation Army than it is in my cellar. So not everybody has a car that has stuff to donate, and it seems to me that sometimes it gets a little messy, or at the donation bins, I'll grant you that, and it would be good to have it kept up a bit more, and maybe renovate the place a little bit. And I know there's the big eyesore just got built next to it, so that doesn't help, but, and they're just getting more crowded in there than it used to be, but, maybe they could, make it a little bit more welcoming and a little bit more efficient looking. But, it seems that the basic premise is that I think the community needs the Salvation Army at least as much as the Salvation Army needs the community. I think it's a good part of the community, and there are people around to whom it means quite a lot to be able to go there and to donate stuff. And so that's my 2 cents worth. Thanks.
Young lady, if you want to step up. And if you kindly raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God.
State your name and your address.
Okay, my name is Astrid Lehman. I live at 8 Pallane East in Baiting Hollow. First, to the point that you made about the bin on Osborne and that area versus downtown. I do bring a lot of things to Salvation Army. I try to repurpose things that I don't use anymore, part of our recycling mentality. And I can tell you that it's much, much easier to take the things to the bins behind the store than it is to go to that location. It's very dangerous coming off that Main Street and making a right there and parking in that area, because I do both, and I'm going to tell you, it's much easier to go downtown. I understand people probably don't like looking at some of the things that are, messy around the bins, et cetera. Maybe that was their complaint. But I will say that the Salvation Army, and I'm a nurse, and I did work with rehabilitation patients in terms of drug use, et cetera. And the Salvation Army is the outreach program that has been quite successful in helping those people. And it has a Christian-based philosophy. It is church-like in its umbrella organization, and it does carry out a mission. The people who work there are not retail people. They are people who need help, that have found a purpose and a possibility of making a little money. And many churches have thrift shops. Because it doesn't look like a church, it doesn't mean that it's not a religious outreach organization. And it's been around for a very long time. And I think that it's very odd that at this point in time, when Salvation Army has been there for so long and does such a great service, that now that there's this monolith that's actually quite ugly, that's there, and if those are the people that are complaining, shame on them. Dave?
Just for the record, the bins have been the subject of violation for many, many years. It's not just recent.
Right, well, but the bins are now behind a locked gate, and it's the homeless people that the Salvation is trying to outreach to that go in there and rip the stuff out of the bins. And that happens in every bin, wherever it's placed. So, that's the issue here. Are we going to do a good outreach? Because that's what they are. They're very solid. They give opportunities. People get stuff there at cheap costs that they can't afford. I mean, if you don't like the clientele that are going in there, don't build your building there. Do your homework first. That's all I got to say.
Anyone else be heard? Step up. If you kindly raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, so help me God.
State your name and your address.
Hi, good evening. My name is Kim Matalova. I actually live in Sag Harbor, and I drove out here for the second time for this meeting tonight. And I came all this way because it means a lot to me on multiple levels. One being that I love the Salvation Army. I grew up being able to shop there. I grew up with a single mom out here. And because of the Salvation Army and little thrift stores that we used to have, I was able to be dressed beautifully in nice things and kind of achieve good things, grow up. I went to Manhattan, I modeled, mostly going in beautiful clothes that my mother bought for me at the Salvation Army. So I would say they afforded us a way to step up our life. And I think that that's very important for people. Another reason that I came here, all the way here from Sag Harbor, is because of my concern for the gentrification of the East End of Long Island, which I recognize that may be one of the issues here with why the Salvation Army is receiving these complaints. I understand that it's probably, as the young lady there before said, that it's a bit of an eyesore, the donation bins, which I understand. But it is important that the Salvation Army has those bins behind their location and not just in a faraway place where the items can be stolen by people who come and arrive. And I think maybe a solution could be to think of a way to help them make it look nicer, like cover it. It's nice that it's now locked behind a gate. But I think if you take away their opportunity to have those items close by, you're taking away their likelihood to get access to good items that they sell to make money to give back to the community. Another point is that it is a church-owned business, so whether you see the building as a church where people come to worship or not. It is a church-owned building that provides a business to the community and the public. And when that starts to be infringed upon, you're infringing upon the church. And if that's infringed upon anywhere, then it's laying out a base for them and their properties to be stepped on and taken away, and it definitely robs the community. I'm not from this town, but I view Riverhead as the city of my town. I view Riverhead as the bigger city for my small town. And when we lost our, first they came for the donation bins in Sag Harbor, and when those were removed, slowly a few years later, they removed our Dominican Sisters thrift store. And I have to say, that was the end. That was the nail in the coffin. And I caution you here to be careful of the big new buildings and the new developers that, you know, they might not like the way that looks, and it's next thing you know, they lose the building and you get another one of those ugly high-rises that's probably the beginning of the end for this town. And I see it coming for Riverhead. They came for Sag Harbor, and it's coming here next. So I think that it would be important to allow the church to continue to do business on their property the way they have done. It has been there for a long time, and better to maybe ask that they build something that could make it look a little bit better, so that the building next door isn't necessarily looking down at a bin that might have some bags that get opened. Like, make a way that it is kept more neatly. But it is important that they have those that they have the donation box behind their building. It's the way that they get access immediately to a lot of the nice things that get donated there. And all kinds of people shop at the Salvation Army. It's very important. It's an important place. It continues to be. So I hope that I see it continue in that building and in that space, and that they're able to thrive there. And they do need the donation box behind their building as well, because the other building on Osborne, like she said, it's hard to get to, and quite frankly, the items at that location might get stolen from the Salvation Army. So they do need their space behind their building where they have access to their stuff. So maybe a way to solve the problem would be to help them make it look a little bit nicer, if that's something that they get made to do. I would be somebody who would be willing to come help them raise money or donate time to make that happen and to see that happen, make it look a little bit nicer so that the building next door doesn't have something to complain about. I have never had a problem driving on that drive behind that goes into that parking lot, passing two cars coming by me. It's quite wide. I've never felt unsafe back there with homeless people, so to say, or vagrant people. I think these are people that could use help, and the Salvation Army is someone that can provide them better clothing, warm coats, and a way to step their life up, which I've had that experience, so I'd like to see it remain available for other people to have that experience as well.
Thank you much for coming out.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else to be heard? Okay, so we're going to,
Let's see if there's anybody online. There you go. I don't see anybody else online.
If I could just amplify something that she said very quickly, you can limit me to a minute or so. That's all right?
Step up.
again, take your mask off, state your name.
Yeah. Van Howell, Riverside Drive. Yeah, I was just going to say that I grew up in West Hampton, and I moved around to other different parts of the island for a while, and then in 1995, I ended up in a house that had once belonged to my grandmother back in my old hometown, and it was being kind of gentrified. There was a little bit of warfare going on over which direction that was going to go. I didn't really need gentrifying, but it needed a little help. But at the time, I was doing some work for the East Hampton Star, some cartoons for a publication they were putting out for their film festival out there. And so I had to deliver some work early in the morning in East Hampton to get it out in their little brochure that went out with the film festival thing. And I thought I'd get some breakfast. And I went around to looking all over East Hampton to find a place to get breakfast. This is the mid-90s. I couldn't find a breakfast for under about 20 bucks anywhere to save my life. And I felt like I was suffocating. I felt like I was being swamped. And I realized that what made West Hampton livable was its proximity to Riverhead and Spionk and Eastport and Mauritius. That we weren't stuck out, all the way into the deep Hampton zone of East Hampton. And you guys have so many treasures here. Because just like you were saying, the Riverhead is the city, I grew up being mixed up with whether I was coming to New York City or to Riverhead when I was a little kid. I knew Riverhead stank more of diesel buses than Riverhead did, but other than that, it was bright and bustling at Christmas time with busy department stores and, what did I know? But the thing I was going to say is just that, I forgot what I was going to say, but you get the general idea. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, your Spices, Salvation Army, and, I don't know what's going on with the luncheonette in the middle of town on the corner of Roanoke, but I haven't seen it open for a while. You've got so many little,
Wednesdays to
little
Sundays.
treasures. What?
Wednesdays to Sundays.
They're closed Monday and Tuesday.
Okay, all right, well, I'm glad to hear that, so, yeah. But, it would be really good to just start with what you got, a conservative approach. Save what's working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Make sure nobody else fixes it. Thanks.
Right.
Hey, Freddie, can I say something?
What?
I want to say something. Come on. I don't know, I got the impression that some of you folks feel that we're here to destroy the Salvation Army. We are not. Okay, we are not. Salvation Army, as I said in the first meeting that we had 2 weeks ago, they're probably one of the premier charity groups in America, if not the world. Our job is, we got a job, and what we're trying to do, or what we've been given to do, is to interpret whether that East Main Street building is a church or not. So, and that's a difficult job. And then I think I'm sorry, I don't know your name from Sag Harbor, but the point she made about, maybe the place could be made to look a little bit better or covered, maybe those are avenues that should be explored. I don't know, but that doesn't change our job. And I want to tell you, this job is not easy. And I'm not looking for any sympathy, but I just want to make it clear that we're not here to destroy the Salvation Army. So,
Okay, we're going to put this off to the next meeting. We're going to have a reserved decision. And
does Dawn want to reserve?
No, the one after, meeting after, right?
what's this?
You don't want next meeting, right?
There are no other hearings on that meeting. I don't know if you want to do
No.
a reserved
No, with
decision.
McVeigh.
Dawn won't be
There
here.
are no meeting, there are no applications in the next meeting?
There's
No.
just the
Just
one.
one. They want it to
Dawn
go
won't be here, and I would recommend that Mrs. Thomas be here, but she can't, so
So you want to do it? a
the
month?
next
She
second
won't-
week in
you won't be here on
February.
the 24th.
Who will be here on the 24th?
So you want to put it over for a month, for 4 weeks?
Who's the one, what's the meeting prior to that? Oh, that's the other meeting.
Carmen.
I mean, I can write it up.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can write it up.
And you, yeah.
Yeah, let's not hold this off any longer.
Whatever you want. Okay.
Let's make a decision. Okay, so let's put this off to the next meeting. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Is that the
That
11th?
lady wanted to speak back
I
there.
just have a quick question.
that the Salvation Army's been there since 1981. I'm just wondering how this dilemma that you're faced with has occurring now.
They brought the application.
It's quite simple. Code enforcement was issuing tickets to the Salvation Army for having storage bins behind the building. The code does not allow a retail store to have storage bins or delivery bins. So they kept writing summonses to the Salvation Army to eliminate the problem. So the lawyer for the Salvation Army determined that the best way to approach it is ask for an interpretation as a church. If so, and we say it is a church, then they can have 2 storage bins. And that's where we are. So
Okay.
we're not really happy that we have to decide whether it's a church or not, because it's a retail store, but it is owned by a religious corporation. So it's a real tricky business here. But we're here to hear it because they wrote summonses. It's the only reason.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
I'm sorry, I'll be very brief. I just want to clarify something. The only summons that I'm aware of is one that's pending over in town court. I don't think there have been any more summonses issued than just that one. And really, to answer that's the only one
But it was
that I have
continuously
appeared
on the calendar, and you had to appear every week for the same summons.
And the reason why.
And then you filed an application to us to have a stay until this is resolved. So you don't have to appear in court until we resolve it
Right,
and try to do an interpretation.
but that's just one summons that's over there, that's all. It's been
I
adjourned.
understand it. It obviously sent the message.
Ongoing issue for a very long time.
It's been going on since 2019 till the present. Is maybe, I don't know, 25 or 30.
And the reason why, if I may, is because the way these things are usually handled is that they adjourn it in court until it can be determined as to whether we're entitled to a permit. And frankly, I'm the prosecutor for the Village of Belrose. I've had that job for 35 years. And that's the way we handle it. When someone is issued a summons, it gets adjourned, and the defendant then tries to make applications to have that violation removed by getting various permits.
You're not wrong about that, that's accurate, but this is one violation. Over in the past, there have been many others. This is the most recent one, I think.
I'm not sure whether you're referring to summonses that were issued, or just that they were perceived violations, but no summonses were ever issued.
I'd have to check the record, but the issue that created the violation that has been, because I was town attorney for 11 years and I handled code enforcement, and it was a problem.
It's hard to respond to that without
I
any
understand,
violations.
But I'm not saying
yeah.
that I know that for sure, I would have to check, and it doesn't really matter, it's not the issue.
I just want to say, and as a gentle reminder, the last time we were here, one of you, and forgive me, sir, for not recalling your name, but you mentioned that the Army store and behind the store looks better now than you've seen it look in a long time. And basically, we've heard you, so we're trying. Thank you.
Well, then ask code enforcement to withdraw the ticket if they feel it's in compliance.
I apologize, I didn't quite hear that, sir. Could you please repeat it?
I said that you can ask code enforcement that since it's being maintained and well-maintained, according to your opinion, ask code enforcement to withdraw the ticket.
Well, that's a different jurisdiction, and at the appropriate time when I have, I think, a Zoom conference with Judge House coming up in a couple of weeks, and we can address it at that point.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
All right. So,
Me personally, it could have went about it in a different way. That's all.
I
I think there was a way to resolve that.
okay,
It is what it is.
I know, you can't get a permit, though, in town court. I mean, this is the place where you come to ask for a permit.
Well, they wrote it out of the code for a reason, and they only allowed it in churches.
Or
Churches.
Or in shopping center or destination retail. You can have bins at.
In those two districts?
Yes, that's it.
Basically, the law was changed. I mean, to answer the previous
Yeah, hey.
speaker's question, I mean, the law was passed, I believe, in approximately 2014, prohibiting
correct.
drop-off bins from District 1. So that's how we got here today, because the law was changed. Which obviously is the grandfather would apply in the town court proceeding if it comes to that. This is-
Well, have a little faith in us and let's see where we can go.
The lady from
All right?
St.
I do.
Albert wants to be heard again.
Thank you.
Bring her,
Young lady, what do you got? No, you have to step up to the microphone.
you came a long way. Are you
Yeah,
here
what's
the
another
24th?
20 feet?
Are you here the 24th?
So let's have, if she writes it up a reserved decision, that's enough.
I'll write it up and you guys can decide.
Yes, young lady, just state your name
Thank
again.
you. Kim Matalova.
Go ahead, Kim.
I just wanted to add one thing. I'm not sure if I made it clear, but for me, the Salvation Army and the church have always been synonymous. I don't feel that when I go in there, I'm going to a retail store. I feel that I'm shopping at the church. I'm shopping in their place where they're offering things to make money for their church to give back to the community. So I don't view it as a retail store at all. It may be their version of one, but they are a church, and so that is their church business. So I feel that it makes sense to me that their property is church-owned, and therefore that jurisdiction might not really apply to them, that they are a retail store with a bin in front of it. I understand how you could have the bins there over by the highway where I see some other donation bins, not necessarily for Salvation Army, but those are for places that are not churches, church-owned. So that was my 2
We hear you.
cents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this anything different than you've already said?
Yeah, it is. It's real quick. It's my understanding that with zoning disputes, there's such a thing as a grandfathering in. So what would be in other words, if the regulation we're talking about was instituted in 2014, and if the bins have been there in one form or another
They've
since
been,
1981.
according to our attorney, they've been, flagged a couple times over the years, so no.
Well, yeah, but is your attorney doing business with the luxury apartment builders,
Let's sit down.
Beg your pardon?
All right,
Really appropriate.
let's move this to the 24th of,
Yeah,
No, the 10th. You
February
wanted to do
10th.
the
it.
10th, yeah, let's do the 10th of March. Let's hear a motion.
Fed 10th of
So moved,
February.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Gazillo,
Aye. Second.
Mr. Barnes,
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So you see you folks on the 10th, we'll have a decision. Thank you. Safe trip home. All right, let's have the next one.
Appeal 2021-046, JLL Properties Corp., 1312 East Main Street, Riverhead, tax map number 600-105-120, CRC zoning, for a special exception from Chapter 301, Section 222B, where proposed change from a pre-existing non-conforming auto parts shop building to a non-conforming deli, specialty food shop, and non-conforming barber shop, personal service business.
Holy cow. Will we say something?
You here on this one?
This is,
Are you hearing this one?
Stephen Kiley should be on Zoom.
I can't.
It's a random thought. I'm not going to say it.
I know, I could say the same thing.
Can you see how many participants it says?
Oh, gosh, oh, golly.
I can't read it. Because usually they'll click here and it would say.
Show non-video participants.
Say where?
The view, show non-video participants.
Oh, here. Okay, so where's the?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Hi, so this is Stephen Kiley, and I want to just reiterate again, good evening, Mr. Chairman, and rest of the board. I represent the applicant / owner, JLL Properties Corp. The subject property is located at 1312 East Main Street and is located in the Upper East Main Street portion of the town. Upper East Main Street connects downtown to the Route 58 corridor. Route 58 is a commercial strip, while downtown is a traditional center. Upper East Main Street is a transitional area between the two, which consists of a hodgepodge of commercial, industrial, governmental, and residential uses. As such, the town's 1999 comprehensive plan recommends that commercial development on Upper East Main Street be focused in a few concentrated nodes. Here, the property has been commercially developed since at least 1962 and is located within such a node. Specifically, the former Edwards Sports Center, now Plaza 58, adjoins Route 58, which adjoins Schwing Electrical Corp., which adjoins the subject property. The subject property has most recently housed a CarQuest auto parts store with at some point an auto repair garage as well. Such a use is pre-existing non-conforming. The property is zoned commercial residential campus, CRC. In such a district, offices, restaurants, indoor sports and recreation facilities, along with residential uses are permitted as a right. Here, the applicant proposes to operate a deli and barber shop at the site in the existing building. There will be no construction, exterior-wise, thus necessitating the instant application for a special exception to go from one non-conforming use to another. Since the property is located in a commercial node and has historically been commercial, we feel it's perfectly suitable, appropriate, and within the existing character of the immediate area. The applicant would like to transform the derelict eyesore to a viable business in order to, of course, make money, but also create a more welcoming vista to the downtown area. The applicant will meet the CRC supplementary standards, including the provision of on-site parking. Here, 20 spaces are required. It will also install appropriate screening and or vegetative buffers to adequately screen any adjoining properties and ameliorate the impact of the on-site parking. We're just going to run through a couple of the applicable special exception considerations. One, character of existing, probable uses, and suitability of proposed use. Since the property has historically been commercial, is located in a commercial node, with commercial uses next to and across from same, it is an ideal location for the proposed use. Additionally, the property is of adequate size to accommodate all the necessary off-street parking on-site and screen same. And again, a vegetative buffer will be installed to screen the use from adjoining properties. 2, conservation of property values. The property values will necessarily increase due to a derelict, vacant building becoming viable, and the property value will increase or be net neutral versus a former auto part use or any other commercial use permitted in the CRC zone. 3, traffic congestion. The proposed use will not cause any more traffic congestion than any other of the permitted commercial uses allowed in the CRC zone. Sewage, garbage disposal. Dumpsters within screened enclosures will handle all refuse generated by the proposed use. A Board of Health approved septic system will be installed to address sewage generated from the proposed use. 5, noxious gas smoke will not be produced. 6, noise, dust, light, electrical discharges. Disturbing impacts will not be produced. Public parking / recreational facility. The proposed use will not impact either, as all parking will be contained on site. Similarly, 8, with parking, again, all required parking will be contained on site. 9, hazard to life, limb, property. No hazards will be created by the proposed use, as the building is located 25 feet from the main road and easily accessible for emergency vehicles if required. Overcrowding of land. No overcrowding will occur as no new buildings will be constructed. The existing building will only be repurposed. Plot area sufficiency. The plot area was sufficient for the previous incarnations of commercial uses. Thus will be sufficient here, and there is plenty of parking. Topography. The property has been historically cleared and leveled, thus perfect for the proposed uses. And lastly, unreasonably located near church, school, public assembly, theater, or place of assembly. The subject property is not located near any of those uses. But lastly, and most importantly, on June 14, 2018, this board granted the exact relief we are requesting tonight. In the findings, the board found that the evidence in the record establishes that weighing the benefit of granting the relief sought will provide a benefit to the community that outweighs any detriment, since the reuse of the currently vacant and blighted property will eliminate the negative impacts associated with the aesthetically unappealing vacant structure and bring the property into compliance with town code. The subject relief is conditioned upon the following definition and hours of operation for the non-conforming delicatessen specialty food shop use. Delicatessen means any establishment which sells prepared, preserved, or prepackaged food in a ready-to-consume state, including but not limited to meats, prepared sandwiches, soups, salads, and desserts for immediate consumption, primarily off premises. A customer sitting area of no more than 16 seats may be utilized. Specialty box food items, sundries, beverages, uncooked meats, and uncooked vegetables may be sold on an ancillary basis. While alcoholic beverages may be sold, the service of same is strictly prohibited. Hours of operation are limited to 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. Again, that comes directly from the June 14, 2018 grant. I respectfully request that the board grant our current application, as nothing has changed in the surrounding community that would make you decide otherwise. And the only reason we are here tonight is that the June 14, 2018 grant expired due to COVID complications. I did make a request for an extension and it was denied, so that's why we're here tonight. Thank you.
Anybody else want to talk? Anybody else who wants to speak, you can raise your hand. Looks like a bunch of people on here.
Does Leroy want to say anything?
Anyone else to be heard?
Leroy?
No, the last hearing, in 2018, I voted no for it. I was uncomfortable with the parking situation and the traffic, so I voted no. But, nothing's changed.
Anybody else want to be heard, you can raise your hand on Zoom.
Anybody else want to be heard?
Steve Kiley again, real quick, I'm sorry. I just want to address the fact that we will have to go to site plan to deal with any parking or traffic issues, and we have a fully prepared site plan ready to be submitted if we're fortunate enough to get this variance. Not variance, I'm sorry, special exception.
How about Mr. Phillips? Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
You here on this matter?
No, I'm not. I'm here at the Peconic Bay, 599 Peconic Bay Boulevard. But as an aside, we missed the outcome. Our audio went off for the last few minutes of the outcome, so we're hoping to hear what the result of that was at a later date.
Yeah, but 599.
His audio went out for that, so he didn't hear the decision.
Okay. Well, it was granted.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Go on.
Anyone else to be heard?
Leroy's dogs.
No problems.
Okay, there's a few people on here, but nobody's asking to talk, so.
Okay.
All right.
Want me to read it? I should pass it.
He's got it.
He read those, okay. Do you want me to read those?
has to be read in.
Yes.
So, you want me to-
Yeah.
Yes, we would just read that, granted with the following conditions.
All right, I move that the appeal of JLL Properties Corp., 1312 East Main Street, Riverhead, Suffolk County Tax Map Numbers 600-105-1-20 CRC zoning for a special exemption from Chapter 301, Section 222B, where proposed change from a pre-existing non-conforming auto parts shop building to a non-conforming deli, specialty food shop, and non-conforming barber shop, personal service business, with the following conditions. Delicatessen means an establishment which sells prepared, preserved, or prepackaged food in a ready-to-consume state, including but not limited to meats, prepared sandwiches, soups, salads, and desserts for immediate consumption, primarily off premises. A customer sitting area of no more than 16 seats may be utilized. Specialty boxed food items, sundries, beverages, uncooked meals, and uncooked vegetables may be sold as an auxiliary basis. While alcohol beverages may be sold, the service of same is strictly forbidden. Hours of operations are limited to 5 a.m. to 11 a.m.
11 p.m.
11 p.m., I'm sorry, I think that would be a short one. Do I have to read the rest of it?
Yeah.
If this is approved, it is necessary that you take this duplicate or original letter with you to the building department when applying for a building permit. Pursuant to Riverhead Town Code 105-8D, any determination made by the Zoning Board of Appeals shall not become effective unless a permit is obtained in accordance herewith within 1 year of the date of such determination, unless the Zoning Board of Appeal has stipulated a different period of time in the determination. God, you could run out of wind. The Zoning Board of Appeals shall have the power by resolution to extend its determination for a period of 1 year upon writing notice from the applicant or its agent of the desire to do so. No more than 3 such extensions shall be allowed. The provision of this subsection shall not apply in case of interpretation of variances for the use of land unless Zoning Board of Appeal has indicated a time period in determination. Failure to complete herewith with reader disapproval, null and void. In the event of this is an approval subject to conditions, or approval shall not be deemed effective until such time that the foregoing conditions are met. So, in accordance with the application in the ordinance, this application should be granted, or in accordance with the application and sketches with amendments thereto, if any, is filed with the building inspector.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Barnes?
No.
Mr. Whitmire?
Aye.
Mr. Gazillo?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So the appeal has been granted, and good luck.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your time tonight.
All right.
Good night.
Okay, now, Harbor.
Appeal 2022-001, Barbara Howard, 13 Harbor Road, Aquabog, tax map number 600-113-226, RB80 zoning, for variances under relief from Chapter 301, Section 31, where proposed front yard setback is 29.9 feet,
The map is being...
and minimum required is 60 feet, where proposed side yard setback from side street is 13.8 feet, and minimum required is 60 feet, and where combined side yard is 30.6 feet, where minimum required is 65 feet.
I swear you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name and your address.
My name is David Martins. I'm the principal architect for Architects MAD, and my office is located at 102 Lillian Road in Wisconsin, New York. I'm here on behalf of Mrs. Barbara Howard. The client is looking to do a small 120 square foot addition to her existing footprint on her first floor, as well as adding a second floor to her house. The The existing house already has the second floor, but it's a cape, so it's half usable, according to the New York State Code. So now she's just going to extend it a little bit further so she can utilize the footprint of her house. The house is located in a very awkward shaped lot, where it actually has 3 street fronts, and then the rear of the lot is located at the creek. So the lot has some existing non-conforming issues to the existing house as is. We are trying not to make them more non-conforming, so we try to be as accommodating as possible when it comes to the footprint of the building itself. The nature of this renovation slash addition is to, the client and the user of the house is getting older, so they want to make sure that the house has universal design, which means that they can utilize the house throughout the rest of their life. So we made the stairs larger for them, and for ease of access to get up and down, making the treads larger, and that's basically what's actually being added in the addition that we're doing to the footprint of the building. So, and then we also added a new front porch along Harbor, as well as what's considered the front of the house, which is the Meeting House Creek Boulevard. So, yeah.
I've gone over your plans, I have no problem with them. Any,
Awesome.
my members have anything?
So with the ground floor and the second floor, you got about 2,400 square feet.
About, yeah.
So it's still not a gigantic house because the lot's small.
Yeah, in the area, it's still considered one of the smaller houses in the neighborhood.
Okay. Leroy, you have anything on this? Oh. We gotta get Leroy back.
No, I don't have any problems with it,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Anyone else?
There's 3 other people on, and I'm not sure if you want to
Yeah, but everybody,
unmute, and I can unmute you.
if whoever wants to speak, you have to unmute yourselves so we can hear you.
Nobody's raising their hand.
Could you raise your hand if you want to speak, please?
Well, the stuff on this, nobody, you can't see them.
Nobody is
Tricia, you have anything to say? How about Sandra?
This is Tricia. I have no comments.
Thank you.
Okay, Sandra?
She's from 599.
Oh, forget it, $5.99 now. Nobody else? Okay. I have no problem with that. Seems the board doesn't have any problem with it, so let's have a reading.
All right. The chairman respectfully move that the appeal of Barbara Howard, 13 Harbor Road, Aquabog, SCTM number 600-113-2-26, for variances and/or relief from Chapter 301, Section 31, where proposed front yard setback is 29.9 feet, and minimum required is 60 feet, where proposed side yard setback from side street is 13.8 feet, and minimum required is 60 feet, and where combined side yard is 30.6 feet, where minimum required is 65 feet, be approved in accordance with the application sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector.
Second?
Okay, Mr. Barnes? You with us, Mr. Barnes? Give us thumbs up, we'll take that.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Mr. Gazillo?
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire?
Aye.
And I vote aye, so your appeal has been granted.
Thank you
Best of
very
luck with
Thank you so
the project, and
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
buckle down for the snowstorm. Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you,
Everybody.
young lady.